paint this spice house for, I made it like an 18-inch. Of course, you can get it bigger or smaller. And I got some little cutouts. I broke it, but we're going to put it back together when we glue it down that says welcome. So, I had a request on my page for the house to be like blues and greens, so that's what we're going with. We're going to do blues and greens, but first we've got to paint the whole house white. So let's do that first, just so we have a good base of white. And you can paint right over the top of your, I'm using a sponge because that's what I had laying around from another project that had white on it. So I'm just going to paint a coat of white on here first. I don't know that I like this sponge, but we're gonna make do. These are kind of like the little Lennox spice houses that you can collect. I do not like that. It's driving me insane. So let's get another brush, 'cause I'm not liking that. It's not liking my hands either. So let's switch. There we go. Okay, so let's put a good coat of white on here. It may need 2 coats, but I'll come back and do another coat. We can stop, and for the sake of this video, I'll do a coat and we'll stop and dry it. So that way you're not having to sit and watch me do 2 coats of white. So okay, come on, there we go. And some of this will be painted over color, but just to make it a little bit easier to paint, I'm just painting the whole thing white. And then I can go back and put the color in where I want it. So that way I'm not sitting here painting in between little sections and I can still see my lines. That just makes it a little bit easier. This one has a lot of detail to it. May end up using some paint pens on some of the smaller areas, but overall, I want to, let me find my white paint here. Okay. Overall, I want to use as much paint as I can. I may use the paint pens for a few places here and there. Okay, so we're going to do a coat of white. I'm going to stop and blow dry it, and then I'm going to do another coat. So when I come back, we will have both coats of white paint on our house. Okay? Okay, we are back with our coats of white, and we are going to start adding in the details. Okay, so let's start with the roof. I'm going to kind of flip it around this way, and we are going to do the green on the roof, and I'm going to use this like green right here. It's one that I just had mixed up. I was painting something else, and so I'm just going to use this green because it's already mixed up, and that just makes my life easier. So let's see. Let's do the green on the roof, like so. This one is very detailed because it has a lot of like little parts to it. We're going to try to keep it as simple from the painting perspective as we can. I don't want to like get too overwhelmed with, you know, because it's a lot to paint. So but it's going to be cute. It's going to be cute, or at least I hope it will be cute. All right, we're gonna do let's see, kind of debating on whether I should paint the top part up here the same color, or if I should do, I don't know, I can't decide. This isn't the same one that actually I think the one that I kind of used as like my example I was kind of like looking at to do was, it was like an orange roof, I think, but I was just kind of drawing it out based on like looking at several ones, so it's not an exact. I think I'm just going to paint this whole thing green up through here. Yeah. Winging it. I might paint those a different color, like a different shade of green maybe, or something like that. So let's do this little peak. Well, I don't know. Let's do the shrubs at the bottom. So let's do those because we know those are going to be green. And I think I want to do the inside of the windows like this teal blue color. So we'll add that in. And I think that'll look pretty good. So I'm just going to go in and put a really thin coat of paint where I want the like bush or shrubbery. And well, it's etched out. I mean, I know where it goes, but you know what I'm saying. Just put a coat of paint on it. So I'll do that. And then I will decide what other colors I want to do. I think maybe like, I don't know. I feel like maybe that needs to be maybe blue. Let's see. I'm kind of thinking like this needs to be like a green or something maybe. I don't know. Let's do that green. It's going to be like a part that sticks out. So I want to do it. Let's just do it. If I hate it, I'll paint over it. Okay. Then let's do the, let's do the greenery on here. A different shade of green, maybe like a lighter green. I've got this green over here. But I just took some regular old green and added some white to it. And again, this is just my preference, of course. You know, you can do whatever colors you want to. I did a little poll on my Facebook page to like see if anybody had preferences on colors. And somebody commented blues and greens. So that's what we're going with on here. That's what we're gonna go with. Okay, so we have, yeah, I think I like that green color there. That'll work. And then we'll do the, like the teals next. So I'll just kind of work all on my green because we'll have to go back and do multiple coats. So this one may be a little time consuming. I didn't actually even know these were like a thing till I started doing, till I did my dishes, and I did that and somebody requested this. So I was like, okay. And it's taken me this long to get it painted. This was several weeks ago. So, all right, let me flip it around. I think this blue, like teal blue color, and the the lime green, like they complement each other very well, or limey sort of green. They look really good together. Now I'm just using the etched lines as a guide. I'm not making sure to stay in the lines. Now you can be a little bit more methodical about it and stay in the lines more if you're a little bit of a perfectionist. I just use them as a guide and just to give me a map to where I should paint things. I'm not making sure that I stay really good in the lines, because at the end of the day, as long as you kind of stay close to them, you're not going to be able to tell that you got out of the lines. That's just my preference, but everybody's different. I just use them as a guide. Okay, so we have the roof up there. Let's work on some of the green on the windows. I mean the teal on the windows, because I want to get that painted in so it can be dried. And I'll probably have to go back over like the panes of the windows, just because they're going to get I'm going to have to like go in between with maybe like a white paint pen or something to sort of help fix where I got out of the lines a little bit. But that's not a big deal, because I'm going to paint. And I could have done a paint pen with these, but it goes pretty fast with the paintbrush. I've got a little flat brush that I'm using, and I'm just painting right in the windows really quickly. I would say this is a project that if you don't have time to sit and paint the whole thing, you could do this over the course of several different paint sessions, because it is very detailed. And of course you can add as much detail or as little detail as you want to. I'm not a very big like detail painter, so I'm not gonna have a whole lot of intricate details on it. Okay. Okay, and then I think I might paint the whole door blue, even though because it's like a little paneled door, so we're gonna paint it blue. Okay, then we'll go up and do the windows on the top up here. Okay, and let's flip her around and let's paint these windows. Okay, so there is all of the windows. I think I might actually do these blue, just for fun. So why not? Okay. Okay. All right, so then we have like some little columns and stuff that I need to decide how I want to do those. And then even like these little pieces on the house. I might actually do that with like a brown color, maybe. Let's see. Do I know? I do not know. I do not know. Let's see. Let me get my brown over here. I think I might do that in the brown. I had to drop some brushes in water because they were gonna dry out on me. Okay. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of brown to it to darken it up just a little bit. Really? Every paint bottle I own is clogged. Okay. So let's take that and swirl it around a little bit. All right. Then let's come underneath the roof right here. There's a little ledge, and I think I'm going to paint that brown. Why? I don't know, but sounds good. This brown may not need 2 coats. The green though is definitely gonna need 2 coats. It just sometimes depends on the color. I might get by with only having to do 1 coat on the brown. Okay, so there's that. And then let's do let's maybe do the brown also right here in this same area, just to kind of keep it consistent. Okay. Ah! My table is not even. Okay, so there is that. And then there's like a little line that I'm gonna do there, and I think I'm gonna do it in brown too, and then put like a little bit of design in there. So I'm just gonna use my brush and go across this with the brown across that etched line right there. You can also use a paint pen if you want to instead of a paintbrush. So I'm going to go across that. Okay, then now let's go ahead and go back to the green and do a second coat on this green down here. I'm still contemplating on how I should do my windows. I don't know if I should leave them white or I should do something different with them. I can't, I'm not exactly sure yet. Kind of leaning toward maybe pulling in another color, because I feel like it's, I don't want it to be too much pink and just, blue and green. Maybe add a little pink in there. I think it would kind of balance out. I don't know where I put the pink, but I'll think about it. Okay, so let's do another coat of this color. And here's where I'll come back and sort of straighten up my lines a little bit and clean up where on that first coat, I painted it a little quick and, for lack of a better word, messy. So I'll go back and clean up those lines as I'm painting it in with that second coat. All right, so I'm going to get this second coat done, and then what I'll do is probably stop and let you get caught up and dry yours, and then we'll come back and work on adding in a different, maybe a different shade of color. Or a different color in there. I don't know what yet, but I feel like it does need another color, and I'm gonna have to touch up with the white in a few places too, but that's not a big deal because my windows have got a little wonky. No worries. We'll straighten them up. We will straighten them up. Okay, so there is our green on our little house here, okay? I'm kind of leaning maybe even toward doing maybe a lighter shade of, I don't know, I feel like I needed something else around that window up there. Even if I just take this brown and sort of trace around the edge of this triangle shape here. I don't know, I feel like it needs like a little bit of brown on there to help. Yeah, that does pretty good. And I may have to clean up some lines, but, and this is a thing that I could also use a paint pen for. I have a brown paint pen, and I may actually go back and just trying to get a picture in my head of what I want it to look like, and then I can always go back and clean up lines or use a paint pen to straighten things out and make it look the way I want it to look. So let's do another coat of blue on the door, because I'm not going to worry about the windows getting another coat because they're windows and I'm kind of wanting them to be maybe a little streaky. So we're going to let that be a little streaky. But I want to come like right here with this teal and maybe do like some little lines like this. Okay, so I'm just adding like a little detailed little pattern on that strip there, so it's not just blank. So I'm adding in these little lines here. Now I'm just holding down the tip of a flat brush and kind of pressing a little bit, and it is giving me that little pattern like that to add some little lines on there. That looks cute. All right, now let's do I'm kind of leery of doing pink now. As I keep looking at it, I feel like I would mess it up by doing pink on it. So we're not gonna do pink because I don't want to mess it up. But I will say that I think it needs, again, down here, maybe like this part to be black, brown, like this little arch over the window. And I can add that in like that. And then I can go around the edge of the window. I might use my paint pen to do that. So this is where I'm struggling with what color to do that. And I think I'm gonna go back and lean into this lighter green. So I'm gonna use the lighter green to make these column posts right here on for the porch. I like using pink, but I feel like the pink is just, that would not be a good choice. So we're not gonna do that. Might add some little pink flowers in the bush or the shrubs. I am gonna paint the center of this with the lighter green too. The good thing is, like, this doesn't have to be like an actual house. helps. Like, it can be fun and just a different vibe. So this down here and the outlines I can do with a different with a paint pen. So I don't have to do that with my brush here. All right, because I think that's what it's going to take to add all the little details in, is doing it with a paint pen. That'll be easier, a whole lot easier. All right, so I want to use like the blue and this white mixed in to make a lighter shade of the blue, like a different shade. And I'm going to go around the edge of the door right here and just trace around the frame of the door with this lighter blue. Okay, kind of like molding, I guess you could say. And then I'm gonna add in just like some little lines to break up the bottom of the house here, around the bottom of and I'm just tracing over these etched lines that are already on there and creating the little stoop on the house. Okay. All right. Next, I could do that same thing up here. Let's do that. Let's take the light blue, and let's flip it around. And let's do the light blue around the edge of the window. Because we're going to come back with that brown paint pen and we'll clean up that line, but we're going to make that window just stand out a little bit more with this light blue. And we'll use the brown paint pen to finish it off. It's just one of those things where you just have to kind of play with it and see what you like or you don't like. And I don't want it to have, because the bulk of the house, a lot of it is white, so we want to tone that down a little bit. We want to give some more color to it. All right, so there is our little windows. And let's flip it back around. All right, so I think we're at a point where we can go in and start adding the details with paint pen. So I'm gonna go and dry this so it'll be good and dry. And then I'm gonna use my paint pen to add all the little details to make it kind of come together, okay? So when I come back, we will work on that. So get to the point to where you like everything painted in, and then we'll work on the details together. Okay, I think I have all of my Posca colors that I'm gonna need. So let's start by doing some little flowers in the bush. And I'm just gonna tap with my paint pen and add some little dots in the bushes down here to give it some flowers. And you can do different colors. I just did pink because I like pink. But let's take the gray. I'm gonna flip it this way a little bit because I'm left-handed. And let's go around the edge of the windows with the gray here. Just adding in the lines for the windows. So I'm just using the gray and I'm going in and putting lines on the windows. Okay, I'm actually probably going to go back over these also with white, to be honest with you. Just because I feel like it'll look better with a little bit of white in there. But I'm wanting to give some type of a little bit of contrast. My hand does not like me today. It's very shaky. I mean, you could take a ruler and like make sure these are straight. I don't go for all that. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to use my paint. This is a gray Posca, just to go over those lines and create the little, let's take the brown. I think this brown is going to be a different shade. Oh yeah, this is perfect. My brown paint is a little bit darker than this paint pen, which is what I want. I want my paint pen to be a little bit lighter. And so that works to add a different shade in there on my brown. All right, so what colors should I do around this? I think I'm gonna go with gray too. So I'm gonna take my gray paint pen and I'm gonna go around the edge of this little triangle here, both on the inside and the outside. And I'm also gonna go down these little pillars that I did green and fill those in. Some green, okay? And I'm gonna do the same thing for this door frame. I'm gonna go down it and use the gray to do that. I'm going to use the gray also to outline the boxes that are etched on the door and create the boxes on the door. All right, so I had a little mishap with my paint pen right there. I got out of the lines. I'm just going to take this white paint pen. I'm going to draw over it real quick and just touch that up. And that touches it up and fixes it for me. So let's flip this around and let's use this dark, this shade of green on the paint pen to go over the greenery that we painted in earlier. And this is where I'm not making sure that I'm going absolutely on the lines, and I'm just creating a little outline around them with a different shade. And this is just a standard green Posca. So I'm going to do that for each one. And again, I'm not making sure that it's like perfectly on the edge. I might might go outside the edge a little bit or over the edge. No worries. Not stressing over it. Okay, let's do the brown up here on the windows. So I'm just going to go around the edge with this paint pen here and outline that out, and then I'm going to use I'll use the gray on the inside part of the windows to add a little bit of contrast. I actually think I'm going to go and do the brown on both sides. I'm going to do it on the inside and the outside of that blue line. So let's do that. We'll see how that ends up looking. Okay, and then let's use the gray and just go in between those and in between those windows. There we go. Oh, let's do it at the top too. And at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, we'll use this same brown to go over this brown right here on the roof. And then I'm going to use the brown to trace out my roof lines and add those in. I'll actually put some black on it too a little bit later, but for right now I'm just using the brown. I will use black, but all right, so that's what I'm left with so far. It looks like a little dollhouse, doesn't it? Oh my gosh, so cute. Okay, so next I want to take the white and let's do let's add a little highlight here on that, and then let's maybe go in. I'm curious to see how it would look to go back over that gray with this white, but I don't think I like that. Well, I don't know, it doesn't look too bad. It kind of softens it a little bit. I can't decide which one I like better. I think I'm going to keep the gray. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep the gray. All right. And then I can come up here on the roof with this green paint pen and do a little bit of line work across the top to give the look of, you know, if it was to have like, I guess you could say like shingles or something. And I can do just like some little crosshatch lines to make it look like we've got a little roof going up, action going on. Okay. Let's take the white and go inside this. I'm tracing that, and let's trace down this side there. And I think I'm at the point now where I want to come in with a little bit of black. So I'm going down the edge of my house here and tracing that out. And I think I'm at the point where I do want to add a little bit of the black in there, maybe. I don't know. I think I want to do the white on the door because I feel like the gray gets lost a little bit. So I think that looks pretty good. Okay. All right. So let's take our black paint pen now and let's just add a few like black. I like black contrast, so let's do a little black underneath this. Maybe a little black going down the side of each of the windows. And also in the bushes, let's add the let's make our bushes have some lines in them, and let's do the black here. I don't want to cover up all the other lines, but I do want to add black in there because it does give a good contrast. And I don't have to go all over everything, but I do want to make it. It's that little doorknob. Okay. All right, and then let's do like this side. Let's do like a little little squiggly line here, and we'll just come across the top there with that. And then we're gonna add that black all throughout our let's add some black up here on these windows. With all these little tiny details, I feel like it's easier to do it with a Posca pen or a paint pen, because if you do it with a paintbrush, you're having to use such a tiny little detailed brush that it can be a little overwhelming. I'm gonna do just like a little squiggly line down here too. That's just little extra stuff. Okay. So I think that looks pretty cute. I do. Trying to think if there's anywhere I need to add anything or do anything to like give it some extra. But I think it looks pretty cute. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh, looks like a little dollhouse. Okay, so we need to add the wording on there. And I'm kind of wondering, maybe if I did this in pink. Okay, let's color this in pink and see how it looks. And if it's too much, we'll do it a different color. But I'm destined to add a little bit more pink on this thing somewhere. So let's see what we can do. Let's see how it turns out. And I'm just painting this with my, using my paint pen because it's small. If it was bigger, I would use paint. All right. So let's throw it on. Let's see how I jacked it up by doing pink. I probably should have not done pink, but we shall see. Well, I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's kind of cute. I'm wondering where I could throw a little pink in, maybe. That would kind of tie it together a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe I add a little pink in the bow. That's a good idea. We'll add a little pink in the bow. I think that's what we'll do. All right, so let's glue this down. And then we can, and I've got to fix my broken, you know what I might do? This is what I'm gonna do. Pink dots in between these lines right here. I told you I'll figure out a way to do it at some point. Yeah, it needed that. Just a little something, something. That's all I needed. Okay. Yeah, maybe that did the trick. Maybe that made me feel better. I don't know. Okay, so let's add our glue on here. I'm just using Gorilla Wood glue. And because this is so little, like, do as I tell you to do, not as I do kind of thing. I put a little bit on my table, and because it's going to dry and it'll be fine. That's probably why my table's not level, because it's covered in glue. But anyway, it works for me, okay? And then I'm going to put a little bit there on that broke spot, so when I go to like glue it down, I can hook them back together. That's the thing, like sometimes, you know, pieces get broke, but once you glue it down, you can't tell that it's broken most of the time. As long as if it was a pretty clean break. This one was a pretty clean break. When I was taking it out of the machine, it broke. And I was like, I'm not cutting another piece of that. So, not that it was going to take that long, but, you know. Okay, so here is our welcome on there. I need to make sure it's centered right. Sorry. Let me hold it up. Okay. Very cute. I need to finish painting my letters because I got some places that ain't got paint on them. There we go. But yeah, I think that ended up turning out really cute with the pink on there. I really like the pink. I wish I could find a way to add a little more pink in there, but other than just the bushes, but it may not translate very well on the, maybe like on the actual thing, but it does. I'm second guessing the green on this. I think I'm going to go in and just do like a little brown on the vines of this, like that, even though that line got a little off. Hold up. I got a little happy with that and went off the line too much. Normally I would not care, but that was a little too much, and you were gonna notice it. So let's fix that. There we go. So yeah, I think we kind of jacked that up there, but that's fine. We're gonna color it in with a little white. Nobody's gotta know. There we go. I just added a little bit of brown like on the stem of that just to pull it out a little bit more. I did not do the black on this side like I did the other side, so I need to fix that right quick. And I might could just add like some little zhuzhi marks. I don't know what you call these, but I just call them little fun little squiggles. Just kind of make their painting look fun. Does that make sense? No. But do I do it? Yeah. There you go. Okay. All right. She cute. Let's throw a bow on her, and I will post a picture at the end of this video, and you can check out the finished product with the bow. And I'm probably going to use pink. Just telling you. It's probably what I'm going to do. So, thanks for hanging out with me.